Good morning, afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Battleground of the Gods Community League, Season 0, our final week here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be bringing you 2 sets for today, but before we get on to those, let's introduce ourselves. So joining me on the desk, Supersonic Blur, will be the one and only Batskid.
How's it going, guys?
Not too bad indeed. So as I mentioned, we have 2 sets coming to you today. First set we're going to be looking at here will be Underworld Alliance versus Incompetent Strategy. So we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves some picks and bans. We'll bring those shortly. I can tell you now, Underworld will be on the order side, so they have access to first picks here. And given this current meta, are there any things we're really expecting to look at here, Batskid, for priorities?
Priority wise, I would say, I expect to see maybe a Persephone because mid lane she is really tough right now. I'd
That's
probably say
cool.
probably a Thor because
Mm-hmm.
map awareness. Other than that, it could really go each way because really when you do picks and bans, it's really about who you want to play and whether or not you have the first pick to get that, god that can dominate the whole map.
Indeed. So already we're going to see Umoja banned away, as well as Sobek, 2 fairly strong gods that we've seen SPL-wise. The Bastet, though, that's an interesting one. We did see Scream grab this one out the other week. However, is it really something that's first ban or top ban worthy here?
For me, I wouldn't say so, but I guess it would all depend on whether or not foreign, because when you get to that level, people who have that god, and you're like, you just can't give it to them.
That's very true indeed. So maybe a pocket ban away. I love the idea here, and as well, it also kind of creates a situation of, well, there's so much good stuff available, you can't ban it all. Let's make sure we at least get 2 of them for our top picks, as we see the Humbats locked in. I'm surprised we're still seeing so much Humbats. He did take a nerf here on this bonus balance patch.
He took a nerf, but he's still really good if you're still comfortable with playing him, and still he has great execute for that CC. When he gets right in there for his ult.
That's very true indeed. And since Humbats already feels like an ult bot, and he's going to be putting high cooldown, as long as that cooldown on his ult is shorter than Beads, it's gonna have an impact, right?
Exactly, and it's always great for team fights, and that's what you're looking for late game, and if you can do early game ganks.
Very true, very true. So Ho Yi is going to be the first lock-in we see here from Incompetent. So a nice solid look in the Hunter duo lane. What they're going to pick, though, for this other option, there's a lot of good stuff. There's Merlins, Discordias are available, Horus is up. You could look at seeing here. I will be interested to see what they're going for, but it's going to be this Xin Chen.
Now, I will say that I have been seeing a lot of Hachiman played in Conquest and SPL, and that just throws me off, but he is really good, and you never expect that.
That's true. He's kind of become the sort of gold standard of, I need to pick a hunter, I'm going to pick Hachiman. It used to be sort of Onho felt like that sort of option, but I guess Hachiman sort of facilitated this jack of all trades situation now, as we're rounding out our first picks of bans. Pele going the way for Incompetence. So already a fairly strong looking situation for the carries in their duo lane and in the jungle.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I saw that Pele pick and I went, oh, there's going to be a lot of pressure going. Especially with her 3, she can move around the map a lot faster.
Yeah, it's certainly a strong look with the mobility as well, especially given the changes to speed buff. She should be able to out-rotate the Humbats, but do either one of these have a kind of an edge? Yes, Humbat's ult is great, but Pele ult can still do a lot of work in the backside of a team fight.
It can, and plus she has great gank potential with her ult. Plus, if you get blink, it could be game over for one lane.
Very true. So we'll have to see whether or not they're going to put that pressure in. Ban-wise, mages we're seeing a lot of. Merlin, Vulcan, curiously enough, and Discordia as well. Finally rounding that out with the Hellband. So I guess both of these teams really don't want to see a mid laner in their game or one of these top mages. Interesting what they're going to leave open. There are still some curious picks that could go around, but what would you be looking at here for mid lanes for both of these two teams then?
For me, like I'm just now trying to think of that. I'm trying to think, you'd want a mage that at least could have a dash or an escape or something like that. You don't want to exactly pick a Zeus. You could go Anubis just because of his potential, but you won't have an escape, so you'd have to rely on, your jungle and
That's
everything
a
like
spicy
that.
one. That's a spicy one.
But
Amaterasu is first one in off the ban, so I guess they really want to just pocket that mid lane pick, and
yeah, I
there's still
know it.
kind of some flex option here with this armor.
All right, there's your first one.
Ooh, I like the Poseidon. Really like this Poseidon here. It kind of fills the role that you were asking for there. It's a good bit of mobility, not a dash as such, good peel, and it is that follow-up for a Ganesh ult or Ganesh CC or the Humbat CC is a big old squid kraken.
So now, like, if I was playing mid lane, I would get something that would at least have something that would get me out of that. Afro does it perfectly.
Oh, Aphrodite. Oh no, it's an Aphrodite, ladies and gentlemen. We have been in the precipice of an Aphrodite meta and a healer meta for a while, but she's here and she's here to stay. So yeah, like you said, it's the perfect option to dealing with high CC and high burst. It's an ultimate that says have a free Aegis for not just yourself, but two people as well.
To me, I really think this will be a very interesting game.
So yeah, breaking down a little bit more on that. What aspects of it are you most interested then to be going to be able to see in this? Is it specifically for which teams?
For me, I'm gonna be watching both junglers because right now, like I was saying before, Pele has great gank potential. If you can get that early lane game and any type of lane, then you can dominate. And then after that, you have great rotation.
That's very true indeed. So, Underworld Alliance here, definitely the ones who have to watch out for the early stages. And I do agree with you. I think that their main selling point for the team comp is going to be that team fight potential for them. There's a lot of CC available for them, a lot of good circles, and good circles is what it kind of comes down to for this team. And it's up to Incompetent Strategy here to see if their strategy is or isn't going to be incompetent here.
That's what I was looking at. And to me, it almost seems like it's going to be a great game. They almost tried to just 1v1 each other on every lane, and it's really nice.
So we are going to start things off. No funny business coming out for anyone, and Hand of the Gods has been picked up here by both supports and jungles. We've kind of really seen a rise in this Hand of the Gods, but how is it really going to help both of these two teams in this early stage?
Coming from personal experience, when you don't have it, then you don't, like, there's great potential for getting your buff taken away from you from the invade. So I think that it's just people don't want that anymore, and it's, you'd rather spend 100 gold just to get it and secure that buff, because when you're without a buff, your lane just gets dominated.
Looks to be the case, as both dual lanes now do turn up, and they're having a little bit of the old balmy that they usually do. Not 100% as to whether or not there's a clear advantage for clear here. You see what I did there. With regards to getting lane pressure, but it does look like this Furious Roar is going to be the main selling point, so little bit of lane pressure going the way of Incompetent Strategy here.
Yeah, to me, personally, I think, Hachi, he needs to get his leveled up a little bit before he has great lane potential clear and everything like that, whereas Hoye just easily dominates in the early game.
Very true. Take a quick look over towards the mid side of things. Neither one of the two really starting to put a little bit of pressure, but hold that thought. Dive in and dash forward. Looking here just for a little bit more poke. In terms of pot sustain wise, Crimson Fire will do better off than the Ganesh just because that passive as well, enabling them just that additional HP 5. Super good for those trades early, right?
Definitely. That's why, and not to mention too, especially in the duo lane, you That's just silence, which could definitely be a game changer early on.
Yeah, I like to sort of look at the duo lane as kind of a tug of war. You want to get as much farm as possible in the lane, but you also don't want to end up losing out as much farm. Hold that, Pele, nice little gank there, putting all into the crypts, almost into the ground, not quite enough, but it's, again, that sort of tug of war, stopping you from getting farm, and now they're looking for an invade potential on these back camps.
And that's exactly what I was talking about with Pele. He has great potential to start going in early, adding that pressure to any lane that she wants to.
And are you happy to see that it's going to be on Call Me Rich here, this Aphrodite? Is that the lane that you'd be looking at early to try and get that pressure in?
I definitely would be, because you don't want that Poseidon to get up above your mid lane, because then, you know, especially if he gets ult first, because you don't want your Afro wasting an ult for single CC. You want great potential on that, you know, with the kiss.
Well, there's that kiss and a back off. Lovebirds is good enough. Call me Rich. Getting first blood on a solo there as well. Into the crypts, not respecting this Aphrodite early.
Not a lot of people, I'm telling you right now, they don't understand that tick on her heal.
Yeah, it did recently get buffed as well, so that extra damage, not to mention the Mage's Blessing, that additional damage as well, so impactful and powerful early. Now she's gone back to base with full boots. That's a fantastic start for Afro.
It definitely is. Not to mention right now, especially, and I know I hate going back to this Pele, but, you know, it's coming from a jungle standpoint. As soon as you see that Poseidon down, just jump on him every time. Because once mid lane loses, you have potential to go in either lane, and you don't have to worry about your mid getting pushed in.
Well, little bit of damage here, but watch around the corner. Nice Jutsu. Unfortunate there. I think a minion stopped the blink, but it's all fine. Actually, it's not fine. No, Fury ends up falling because of this. Now Crimson Fire do what they can to try and body block. Oh, you can't stop Destined Mercy getting away there. Just a 1-for-1 trade, but that was not what we wanted to see. Now Rich is around the corner, looking to try and pick off any of the stragglers if they can.
I gotta say, it was a great fight. You know, I never saw it going either way. It looked one-sided, and both of them completely just dueled it out.
Yeah, it was unfortunate there. Just an unfortunate look, but Destin runs him over with the horse. Want to try and get away with that, but that overextension means that that's a second kill for the Aphrodite, and somehow nobody called that they were missing in mid? Hello?
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I don't know. I think Poseidon was just worried about trying to get up in levels.
Backstep. Well, Maelstrom did make a counter rotation over to the right-hand side. Pushed low as Give Me Your Hat, but not quite enough. Nice backstep gets them away, but it's pressure in the lane for an Amaterasu, and against a Kuka lane who is kind of a bully in lane, it kind of feels like Incompetent Strategy more than happy with the current situation of the game, right?
Yeah, I'm actually impressed, you know, especially with Amaterasu building Talaria boots, and then you got Kokolin with the Glad Shield. You would think Kokolin would outlane that.
He should do. Mid, a little bit of a 2v2 going on, but it's now a 2v3. Hornbats is here, but no ult. Still on cooldown with those changes, so again, just trying to peel off, and Fury's got to be careful there. You can't really afford to try and take a poke trade with an Aphrodite.
Oh, you can't, especially with their heal, man. And, you know, it makes me wonder when they're going to start building anti-heal. See if try to combat that.
Agreed. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing DefX the King grabbing a Brawler as here first item, rather than just that CDR, but nice. Stopping Crimson from being able to do much else, but it created a huge amount of space in lane. Now the wave forced into the tower, but it's a Poseidon, so early clear isn't exactly a problem for them.
Exactly, and now since he's online, you got to watch for that ult on everybody pretty much for their potential as a team fight.
Blink forward. Cheeky monkey. Looking for something. Couldn't quite find it. Surprised that Give Me Your Hat didn't tank that there, because now Maelstrom has made the rotation. Nice Fear No Evil. He comes out, but there's Volcanic Lightning. He's one more shot, but he can't find it. Give Me Your Hat takes the life. Aphrodite's here, but can't quite get away. Robert of Rage and Steel will throw one back into the tower, and it looks like Give Me Your Hat will be the sacrificial lamb. Just a little too late on the shell there, so 1 for 1. Now it's another rotation for Poseidon. Can't quite find the Kraken. Gets leapt over. Now it's just an over-rotation and an overextension potential, because Amma's made the rotation, and Fury ends up falling as well.
This is becoming a great game, and I have to hand it to both teams on all their rotations, on everything that is going on right now.
This is a carousel with the amount of rotations we've seen here. Now it's on for an invade. 3v3 here, but Poseidon's Kraken is down! Never mind, Spear of Mortal Pain's all you need. Crimson Fire gets picked up. Is this Arena? Is this Arena? I feel like this is Arena. Maybe Clash with the rope.
It's really coming down to it, and you know, if you're looking, the only problem with that right now is, you know, you keep relying on that Afro, but that Afro is out of mana. You can't sustain like that.
Very true. But if Aphrodite's being able to keep these fights going for this length of time already, that's got to be a problem for Underworld Alliance, right?
Definitely. The only problem is they went for the invade with, you know, low mana on the Afro, so they were banking on that, and it didn't work out.
Certainly looks to be the case. Though, with all said and done, the game is still pretty much all tied up and even in regards to gold. XP, if we take a quick look at the graphs, we want to check whether there is anything, but it looks pretty, 10. When we looked at the graphs, there was an XP difference of 10 across the entire team. These two are fairly even right now, but aside from the Aphrodite, hold that's trying to make something happen, but again, without the ult, so trying to just bait out some cooldowns and provide a little bit of pressure just by body. But going back to the question, aside from this Aphrodite into the late game, is there either one of these two teams that really thrives better than the other in late?
You know, it's really a match and tied. I'm gonna call it there because, you know, one has great game potential for all of them being in the lane together, and the other one just has a great gank potential to where, you know, if you bash on one lane, you can win. Try to go for gold or, you know, fire, depending upon what happens.
Possibly. Well, after Maelstrom was handily dispatched there, not even using beat or the ultimate, it looks like the rest of Underworld Alliance are going to try and start up this Gold Fury. They've made a rotation from Give Me Your Hat. They have got Robert of Rage and Steel. Underworld do secure it. Hoyo has come out to try and steal, but not going to work. Dharmic Pillars have been used just to cut off the retreat there, and that's all that's going to happen. Incompetent Strategy kind of caught sleeping there. The first real gold lead comes out, but it's still under 1,000 at this point in time.
Definitely, and I'm going to say that was a great play. They saw everybody and definitely took the potential to go in there and say, hey, 3 of us can take this, and then we'll gang up on it. And it was a great play on Hoye, just a little bit late for that ult trying to steal.
Unfortunate, yeah. Though Maelstrom, I think the biggest issue I have there was that Maelstrom, they called out the Fear No Evil. Fair enough, it happens. Sometimes it just happens. But the lack of beat and then ult to go and disengage isn't used. They've been using this all for the engage. That's what they used to turn around onto Fury there. Get a red buff invade as well for their troubles. So I was curious on the call to hold both relics, to hold the relic and the ultimate there. But if they're going to be able to use that ult in this way and just secure a kill, I kind of can understand it.
You know, I definitely agree with you there, but I don't know. Like, from what I'm seeing right now, there's a lot of pinging on the map. There's a lot of great rotation. To be honest, it's going to be interesting to see how late game comes into play.
Indeed. So, again, looking for this Hombat. Has got the rotation. It is a Brawler's beat stick, as we expected. The curious item I wanted to know about is, talk to me about this first item, Rod of Tahuti on Poseidon.
I can sort of understand it. If you're a good Poseidon player and you know his cooldowns on everything, you want that straight power to be able to push lane, especially against the Aphrodite if you're trying not to go Divine Ruin first. Because Divine Ruin, while it is good, you don't get a lot of power for it. So you want that potential for your ult.
So the idea here is then that it doesn't matter if you can out-heal us, we're going to outburst you so that you don't have the time to heal. So should work out interesting. I will be holding my breath to see how it's going to end up working out. They are looking into another item from the same tree. Could be potentially the Karen's coin. Could still be Doom Orb, maybe. It could be, honestly, you could make a decent argument for any of the other items in that tree.
Exactly. I'm gonna put my bet on Kronos probably because he's gonna probably look for that cooldown on his ult.
Yeah, could look to do so, though. Talking of cooldown, mana buff potentially being invaded here. It's only armor on their own, but that's a big rotation. 4 members were around here just to deal with that. They will squeak away with the time that they've got here. They could try and sneak Pyro?
I do not know. It looks like they're actually backing off of it. And which makes sense because when you were looking at the play, if you had 3 in mid and you went to go to Pyro, it could have a potential game changer.
Well, pings came out, so they do know that Maelstrom was over around this purple buff, and the invade has gone through. Took a quick look right on the builds. Pretty much even. Destin is up slightly with the tier 2 balance blade, but it's actually Yi here who's up in Devo stacks.
Which is definitely good for him. Which is funny too, because nope, they're still battling. But yeah, it's a good thing, you know, when you see that he's clearing lane probably easier than he is with the Hachiman.
Very true as well. So, with regards to those two, they are very much team fight orientated. Is there any one time you're expecting either of these two to start making a rotation? We've seen a little bit more look towards this right-hand side with these solo laners. So, are we expecting to see some rotations soon from either of these hunters?
I would say there'd probably be a rotation in when either one of them gets a early lead in the lane, one of them fills their stacks up, or if there's a gank, and then they have potential to not lose that tower. Because you got to remember, when you have a hunter that can easily get your tower, it's just going to melt that down, and you lose T1, and that can affect your whole game.
That's very, very true. But talking about things that can cost you to lose the whole game, there's a lot more sustain now available for Incompetent Strategy. Maelstrom working on those Soul Leader stacks. And once that's finished, Underworld need to have more than just the Brawlers online. Because right now, that's just going to keep happening. Into the Crypts, gets taken down immediately. Fear No Evil is good, but not good enough to follow up any further damage. Humbat still tries to go back in and gets put very low. So Learners have made a rotation. Well, one of them has at this point, but again, there's no follow-up to this CC and damage, and so it ends up in a clean 1 for none.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you there. Once Soul Eater gets online for Maelstrom, they're gonna need a lot more anti-heal.
Scratch that. 2 for 1. 2 for none. And now they're gonna keep going further. Humbat's getting chased down even through the back camps. Yi, though, trying to do what they can just to survive versus Destin here. They should end up falling, but meanwhile in mid lane, the tier 1 tower has fallen. Another member ends up being taken down. That's a 4 for 1 trade. The only end up resolving situation here is that Underworld aren't going to lose Fire Giant, but sadly they're going to end up losing Primal Fury here.
Oh man, and if you looked at that Hoya, he was definitely waiting for that cooldown on his jump to try and escape. And I don't think he had anything else in him when he was like, my jump's down.
Indeed. It was honestly, it was a really nice engage coming out. The Whirlwind of Rage of Steel forcing the relics, forcing everyone back, and immediately followed up by Pele damage. And really, really nice look to see. So it really shows that Incompetence, they're all on the same page. When one person says go in, everyone's going in.
Yeah, and you know, that's exactly what you got to do. And I've heard it a lot of times with Conquest, you know, it's all about objective based. And if you're looking right now, look at the gold. Look at the gold difference.
Yeah, Incompetent Strategy find themselves up. I've said this before on other casts. I would rather have all of my team doing a suboptimal play than 3 members doing a suboptimal play and 2 members doing the quote-unquote right call, because neither one will end up working out because you just don't have everyone on the same page.
Exactly, and it's really seeming right now, if you know, whether there's one shot caller or multiple shot callers, there's somebody on Incompetence team that has it down to where it's like, hey, we need to be here, and all of them just go.
Well, Oh, that looks like go is the option here. Dazzling offense stuns out 2. Reinforcements are here. And there goes the Pele ult for huge damage. Maelstrom finds their third, or their killing spree as it now stands. Dharmic Pillars is cutting off the pass, but it's not good enough. Fear No Evil is good CC, but there's no follow-up. Blinking away both members, but they're getting re-engaged on because Amaterasu is a blink as well.
See, and right there, you know, I get the Hunbat's ult, but it doesn't look like there was any execution on it. So it didn't help out. Now I'm just going back to the same thing where they got the Hunbat's ult for team fights, and it didn't look like the whole team was right there to execute on.
Yeah, there was no team for a team fight to occur. Nice ricochet. Puts a little bit further damage onto this Hunter here, but Hachi, with those Devouris Gauntlets, will eventually start getting those stacked. Still fairly far behind, but now we're going to see the diversity here. Rage is finished now for this whole Yi. So the other side, Destin's gone for the Executioner.
I'm definitely wondering when, you know, they're thinking about going for fire to gain that positive lead for, you know, Incompetent.
Could very well do so, and the crit's going to help with that, you sure?
Definitely, and they've had an opportunity, but I think they're more looking at the towers right now. They're going to try and get that fire giant when they have tier 2 potential.
To mention as well, those Rage is going to stack, so I'm expecting to see this whole you start to make the rotations now. Fully stacked Devouris Gauntlets and a Rage to get stacked as well. You ain't going to get those from minion kills. They come from god kills or assists.
And as you mentioned before, Huye is definitely outstacking the Hachiman right now, and I think he just needs to try and stay in his lane, level up, and get those stacks up so he can have more potential in team fights.
It's curious, there is a 1.5, 2 level lead going for Destin, so I guess both of them should be wanting to start making some rotations. Is there, you mentioned about the Fire Giant earlier, is there any one of these two teams you want to see or you feel has the better chance on a Fire Giant siege here?
Really, right now, I guess it would all depend on if they did a team fight, you know, because if you do a team fight and then you got like 3 kills out of it, that team is definitely going to go for the Fire Giant because they have the great security. You don't want to go for the Fire Giant and then have it stolen from you, because that is a great game changer.
That's true, and Poseidon is a fantastic secure on that Fire Giant. Kraken, huge CC, knocks everyone up. In the close range, has ridiculous amounts of damage as well, so that's kind of their secure. Meanwhile, Incompetents don't have anything so much for the secure, but as you mentioned, in terms of a team fight, they should be able to out-sustain Underworld to try and weather a storm of whatever Underworld try and do for a team fight here. Though, I don't ever feel like they've started a team fight. They seem to have always been reactionary.
That's what I'm thinking too. You know, it hasn't been, hey, we're starting here. It's just been, oh, somebody rotated, so we're all rotating. Let's try and win this battle right now.
Curious. Hunters have made their rotation. Amma pushing up this left-hand side. Meanwhile, going to see the exact same thing from Hucha Lane, but Fire Giant is certainly something that both of these teams are starting to gravitate towards. We're still fairly early on in the game, though, and that's a big Fear No Evil separating out one. The Suns come down, and they are good enough to peel everyone else. Blink forward by the Hucha Lane, and that's a big Kraken, finds one. Maelstrom's gone before they've made an impact. Now, though, they're getting run down. Give me your hat. Takes out one. Around the backside, Amma picks up the Poseidon in mid. It's a 2-for-1 trade, but with this Amaterasu sustain, should be good to keep him going. In comes Hachi on a horse. It looks pretty amazing, but Whirlwind of Rage and Steel throws him further away. 2v3 in the backside. Members from Underworld Alliance are all grouping up. They're doing good damage, but the sustain is still too good. There's no anti-heal available for them. Humbats with the Brawler's Beat Stick is all they really have right now.
And it's doing a great job from that Amaterasu, keeping that Hunbest out of the fight, so there's more sustain.
This Amaterasu's lovebirds are working overtime, still trying to siege down this left-hand side. Tier 1 tower hasn't been taken yet by Incompetence, so could potentially see them to look away from that. But I think that was honestly one of the first fights we've seen Underworld Alliance start off fairly well.
Yeah, it was definitely a good fight. You saw the Poseidon hit his ult. You know, it worked well with the Ganesh ult. And it definitely turned the tides right there. Because you could saw as soon as that happened, they backed off a little bit. And then you saw the Amaterasu take out the Hunbats. And then they're like, okay, good to go in because they don't have anti-heal anymore.
Indeed, and I think that hopefully isn't going to be the tail of the tape. Underworld Alliance, they did get that burst. They mentioned they bursted before the heals came online, but as soon as Afro was there, then they started to face some problems. Amma pushing further back. Destin uses the Aegis, but it's not going to save him for long enough. That's another nice pick, forcing members away. Minions are here. Afro again, just going to keep everyone topped up and healthy.
And that's just where it comes into play again, where you said, you know, there's only one person with anti-heal. Like, if I was Poseidon in that lane, I would have Vine right there just to combat that, you know.
Yeah. I'm very surprised that Into the Crypts, for having spent so long back in base, decides, having seen how that fight went, decides, I don't need an anti-heal item. I need burst. I'm really not liking whatever this book's going into here.
Yeah, you know, I'm wondering if it's going to be a Soul Reave, and you know, just
I would
to try for
imagine
that
so.
damage, but it could go either way. I've seen it. Hopefully, he's not building stacks late in this game.
Well, building stacks is what Call Me Rich is going to do here. It's not the best option here, but getting those stacks online shouldn't be too hard if they do end up starting going for sieges. But for now, it looks like they're going for a tango around the Pyromancer.
And I would also point out, you know, the Ganesh has no anti-heal as well. You know, that's what you want in your team fights. You definitely want your support having that anti-heal, either, you know, Pestilence or Contagion. Especially Contagion right now because it's so good.
Look at this armor. This constant play from this armor is something I love to see, and this is my playstyle from the solo lane. I'm big. I'm going to stand in front of 1-2 people and say, you are not staying in this team fight. I'm going to force your relics. They've got a beautiful looking build for this. It's a lot of mitigation, coupled in as well when they can fall back with their high mobility. I love this armor build, and I love this armor playstyle.
And they're going for Fire Giant. I wonder if they can secure it. And exactly what you were saying, like with her Hilaria boost, she is everywhere on the map.
Beautiful. Force Poseidon beads, who runs straight in, goes for Kraken. They end up falling around the backside. Fire Giant's been pulled off, but it looks like Underworld Alliance have tried to sneak it and keep on it. Give me your half-bands, Call Me Rich. That's big. Underworld Alliance steal away the Fire Giant. Started up by Incompetent. Now they're on to try and get everyone out. Maelstrom finds one around the back. Destin picked up one, but he's taken out cleanly as well. It's 2 for 3, but Fire Giant's on the way of Underworld Alliance. Maelstrom is still here, finds themselves a triple kill, and that's a deicide for Incompetent Strategy.
Great play on the recovery, but horrible play on the Fire Giant start, because, you know, you had that Poseidon ult, you knew it was going to get taken, but at least they got all the kills, so the Fire Giant is definitely irrelevant for that.
Should very well be, and I love the play from Underworld Alliance there. They go for broke. Poseidon doesn't play into this idea of, oh no, it's armor, I better back up. As soon as they see armor and ulti, they run straight past them in towards the Fire Giant, beats everything away. But those beats are down now. There's the Aegis to try and buy them some time. Kraken comes out, and it might end up picking up one, but they will find a Maelstrom swept away with the tides and into the crypts. Gets back to base.
See, that was just a perfect example of somebody seeing blood right there. They wanted that kill, and they dove Phoenix for it, and then you die for it. I've been in that scenario so many times.
We've all been there. We have all been there. But this does now present an awkward opportunity. That could have potentially been the right side Phoenix. Instead, Incompetent Strategy go to try and keep this trickle feed, and now, well, they're not going to really get anything off that D side.
And I have to hand it to Incompetent right there. They turned they turned around the stealing of the Fire Giant to 2 towers and almost a Phoenix.
Yeah, if you look at mid and right-hand side, they are a little battered, but they haven't been taken, which is the most important part, and they will be able to heal themselves back up. And what I guess the next question is, Fire Giant's down and completely gone on everyone, so what's the next look here?
Next look for me at least, you know, I would say we got to look for that gold fairy. Get ahead on gold, and we can just dominate. More items, more potential, more wards, and then kind of just trying to see if we can out-level them, get to 20 first, then push a little bit more. Because if you're looking, the Ganesh is actually kind of low compared to the Jing 10.
Very true, as mid. Starting a little bit of a skirmish, not too much. Blink forward to the Spear of Mortal Pain. Kraken is completely out of kilter. Around the back is Pele, who's completely controlled and locked down in the whirlpool. Now Afro, look at that sustain. No anti-heal, no worries. Aphrodite still going haywire. Beats Aegis is used on the Fear No Evil, and it's a turnaround potential. Look at this. Humbats has to disengage completely, and now Incompetence can return the favor and run it down mid.
That team fight right there had it all played out. It was perfect. I mean, as soon as Incompetence saw that Poseidon ult not going anywhere, I mean, I get it from the Pele. She wanted to go in, get that kill. And right there, that's what I'm talking about, that Gold Fury.
Again, though, Maelstrom was controlled the entire time. Doesn't beat, doesn't ult. I've got to see these actives be used. They're there to keep you alive. You've got to use them, even if it's suboptimal. Staying alive is far more important than the perfect use of beats. If it kept you alive, that's the perfect use.
Really looking at it, coming from a jungle perspective, I think it's just more of, you know, that tunnel vision of, I'm gonna get a kill. And you never, when you're in kill mode, you never think about your relics.
Unfortunate look there, but don't push hard too far back. They do get themselves a Primal Fury, or the second one, I believe. So now Incompetence should be able to tank out this Fire Giant, on the next Fire Giant. And even though they don't have the best secure for it, that additional 14% damage is nothing to scoff at.
It's definitely not. And then we're still, I love how we're still going on it. There's still only one person with anti-heal. As you can see, their whole team fights. Afro is dominating.
Yeah, we saw she was on under 100 HP. 1v1 and give me your hat. She gets a kiss off, Ludsbird's off, and she's back up to over 600-700 health. And then Humbats goes in, and 600-700 health. The only other anti-heal they have right now is Fury with this upgraded Cursed Onk, but they've not been anywhere near Aphrodite to be able to make any use of that.
And the greatest part about this is, like, even, you know, on casuals and everything, there are always people out there that BM you like, where's your anti-heal? Come on, man, anti-heal, anti-heal, anti-heal.
It's good! Buy it, please!
And just the fact that nobody has it. You're just like, what is going on? It's like they're almost thinking about the next game.
I know, right. I'm gonna get on my soapbox here as Pyromancer starts up. Actually, we might have to hold on to that. Blink in, pulls everyone further away. Ganesh around the backside, trying to just peel for this armor, but armor doesn't care. And it's all on the backside, all onto Poseidon. Aegis has been forced, and look at that. No one else is able to get in. The front line's getting melted down.
And that was a good play on Hunbats right there. Great play with his
that little kind of corridor, but now Destin ends up biting off more than they can chew. Double kill for the Rising Birch. That's a fantastic look. 2 for 1, and it was only the Goose who got cooked there. And that's what you want from your armor. I kept out the front line. You guys burnt down everyone else. The Fear No Evil, though, was the big issue for me in that fight. It was such a small corridor, and it had such an impact.
It definitely did. And, you know, while looking at the whole game so far, there has not been that many ganks at all coming from either of them. It's been mostly team fight.
Now, though, Fire Giant, I'm not 100% whether or not that was the enhanced Fire Giant. I believe it was just ticking over the 30-minute mark there. So, Incompetent Strategy with a very solid lead. But just to go back to that little soapbox thing, buy anti-heal. If you have, let's say, you heal for 100, okay? If you buy an item that lets you do 50 damage, that's great. You've dealt 50 damage, but they healed for 100. If you have anti-heal at 40%, that means their heal is now only 60. You've effectively done 40 damage, and okay, so you don't do 50 damage, you do 45 damage or 40 damage. You've still done more because they're not healing as much. You need this anti-heal, especially into an Aphrodite, let alone a Pele with 2 lifesteal items.
And while we're going into that, anti-heal first. Like, if you gotta rush it, rush
Yes.
it. It could be
Yes.
third item. Like, if you look right now, Ganesh is, I think, just starting to build anti-heal. That's not what
It
you
could
want
be
for a
too little, too
support.
late. 100% agreed. Anti-heal is a stat which, by the time you realize you need it, it is too late. You are now against a team with 4 of them with an enhanced fire giant, 2 of them with lifesteal, 1 of them with an insane amount of healing in their kit, and you have no way to stop that outside of 1 Cursed Onk and a Brawlers.
And it
Good
really,
luck.
like, I give it to the Hunbats right there. Like, once again, coming from a jungle perspective, you know, you always want to build your rod first, get your cooldown, everything like that. But then when you see that healer, you go right into brawlers. You don't care about your cooldown, you care about that potential and not letting them get that upper hand on you.
Indeed. Well, talking of the upper hand, Pele pushing mid, might be getting turned around on, but Humbats is spotted out and will retreat to safety. Well, I say safety, they're still getting chased down as Amma's buying enough space to push in this mid lane. 3 members go up, Dharmic Pillars comes out, and a whiffed ult for the Fear No Evil keeps Xingchen alone, but they don't really care, they're tanky and keep trying to get away. Good silence will take them low, and Kuka Lane has forced everyone else away. Pele dipped away to the right-hand side, so a lot of respect from Incompetence. They're going to back up. No one's dead, which means they can now heal up.
Definitely. And, you know, I would exactly at this point, too, with as much lane pressure as they have, I would be looking for that Oni Fury.
Oni Fury would be a great look to try and help with the sieges. It's just lane pressure in all 3 lanes, and someone has to deal with them, or 33 minutes into the game, honestly, Oni minions could just take one of your Phoenixes.
And there we go. Huye saw it coming, soloed that, and got that extra lane pressure that they can go for.
Certainly a good look. Though I don't mind what Underworld are doing. Destin's off on their own, trying to just grab up some, or farm and push out these waves. But curious build here, Kins and Crit. Usually the faux pas of hunters. Is there a way to make this work this game then?
You know, I'm kind of in agreement with you on that one. I don't know if I would do that, so to speak. You know, usually you never see Executioner and Quins in the same build. You usually want to go for one or the other, like whether they're tanky or not. And
well.
then also throwing Crit in there. I don't know what to say. I would have gone with some completely different stuff, but I mean, I guess wait and see.
Well, that's what we'll have to do for now. Odysseus' bow finished for this whole Yi, which I love. Being able to just constantly put out a load of damage. Spirit of Mortal Pain comes out. Kraken completely off the mark. And now it's a complete disengage. Humbat's got a Fear No Evil around the backside, but it forced the Aphrodite ult. And now it's all on to this Maelstrom. But they can't find the damage. Instantly wiped off the map. Give Me Your Hat finds Crimson. And somehow, Underworld Alliance are turning this.
Oh, this could be a great potential push, but they also got to remember that they got Oni Fury going in, so somebody has to clear those out.
Well, there's still no anti-heal really online, but the Aphrodite is getting low, and they will end up falling 4 for none. Underworld Alliance on a Phoenix Siege, able to push back, and not only push back hard, that was against Enhanced Fire Giant. How?
You know, I think there was just great team fight potential right there. Even though Poseidon missed his ult, if you were looking, he would have hit it had that Huye not did his jump. But I think once they thought that that Poseidon ult was down, that they were safe to go in, and I think they overpushed a little bit.
Oof. Well, there's what happens when you do hit the Kraken. The Irenic Goose has been cooked, as it were. Oni minions have been taken care of, and I think, honestly, the way that this is going, they could push here for this. They don't quite have minions just yet. Maelstrom is here, so I'm going to respect it and just back up.
Which, that's a great play right there to back up, because, you know, Maelstrom has been pushing the whole game. And you, especially with Ganesh low, you don't want to lose your Guardian in a team fight.
Very true. And I think Maelstrom has been the fundamental reason how Incompetent have been able to do so well, and conversely how Underworld Alliance have found themselves that victory is Maelstrom goes in instantly with the ult, gets one shot off, and then dead. just straight dead. They couldn't out DPS the damage from both backliners at the same time, and also couldn't keep going through with the damage to use that Soul Eater or their passive. They just bit off a little more than they could chew. Now, Fire Giant again potentially being started up here by Incompetent. Hello? Okay. Taking the 1v1. Maelstrom does get it. Ganesh now trying to do what they can on this Giant here. Incompetent Strategy do manage to secure it through this damage. Off the mark is the Poseidon ult, but more than good enough is DeathX the King to pick one up. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, Hunter for Hunter. But look who's left all alone. Crimson trying to deal with 4.
Oh, and that, see, you know, I was thinking that Afro would get a kiss to heal that Crimson so they should go back in and fight.
Oh, Maelstrom! You can't take a 1v1 against a Poseidon like that. Unless, Poseidon can't take that 1v1. Now, though, Curse Dog has been used as his dazzling offense. Doesn't look like Incompetent are going to let these guys get back to base safely. So they are going to run down as best they can. Amma should be able to keep this Hookah lane busy for the rest of this fight. Honestly, I need to see Incompetent here, not worry about kills. Gotta go for a Phoenix here.
Definitely, definitely. I totally agree with you on that. And if you're looking at builds now, 4 people have, just 3, correction. 3 people have anti-heal now. That's why the fights are turning around. Can't stress that enough. When there's a healer, you need that anti-heal.
Definitely been a good look. And it's good to see that Underworld have been able to get that. But they are being pushed into against a Fire Giant team. They are missing 2 of their key components here for how a fight's going to go down. So left side being pressured out just by this Pele. Meanwhile, mid lane, still got 2 members knocking on the door, and no one seems to have gone that way just now. Lats has made a rotation, gets the Finno Evil off, but Afro holds the ult carefully there. They still manage to secure mid Phoenix, but I think that Crimson Fire might be the sacrificial lamb here. If the rest of the team can just get out, they should be okay with a 1 for Phoenix.
And, you know, right in that play right there, it's not a bad play. Like, you never want to lose your Guardian, but if Guardian is a sacrificial lamb to all of you to get out, you can at least go back and hold you can hold your towers or your Phoenix, because they're not going to push on a high damage person.
Very true. The 3rd Primal Fury going the way of Incompetent Strategy. Now fully stacked that out on the passive side of things. They have a lot of mitigation and bonus damage onto any jungle camps, including the bosses. So this Fire Giant, we saw, that's why it's been able to melt so fast, and they even were able to out-secure the Poseidon.
And if you're looking right now, like, this is what I was talking about earlier in the game, you know, that kills, they just want kills, but that's not how you win it. You go objective. Look at that. They've got Fire Giant almost all the times. They've got it stolen once, and they countered it by killing everybody. But they have been on that Gold Fury and Oni Fury every time.
Indeed, that has been the case. So mid lane, one of the hardest Phoenixes to be able to siege into has been taken, but Underworld are doing what they can to just mitigate that, pushing the wave out as far as they can. In fact, all of the waves they've tried to push out, and I'm kind of curious here from Incompetent. They're still running it down mid.
Yeah, see, at this point, I would be looking for, you know, either a split push, or if you had that great confidence that if you had a team fight in mid that you could get rid of them, then you could go for that Titan.
Possibly, but I think the Fear No Evil is, surprisingly enough, or ironically enough, what they are concerned about. There's beads available for 3 members, and the Aphrodite ult as well, but only 1 Magi's cloak, which could be easily stripped away, so that's a very big turnaround potential if they all in incorrectly.
See, and I agree with you there, because I think they've been looking at that Poseidon ult and going, well, that hits everyone. While it does hurt, it's not on its mark.
So now, siege potential here on this right-hand side. Humbats is round the corner and trying to be chased out, but it's up to Incompetence here to try and find a little bit of space. Afro has been very good at keeping in the backside of things. There's the blink from the Amaterasu, trying to get some space. Gets 3-man stunned, and it's huge. Maelstrom's around the backside doing what they can. There's Poseidon ult again off the mark. But call me rich friends, give me your hat. Meanwhile, this oh my god, she almost got out. Maelstrom surviving for almost the entirety of that time. The Suns and Poseidon is good enough to buy them some time. Right side Phoenix has now fallen. 4 members are still up for both sides of this, but with that Aphrodite, they should still be good to keep going. They might actually look to try and end here.
It's looking like it, and there you go, Super. Did you not see Pele with her relics used in that fight?
Yeah, and look at that. They almost survived. I mean, they did absolutely everything they could, and the way that we saw that fight break down, Goose and Maelstrom, blink, blink, burn out everyone, keep everyone forced away. Into the Crypts has been so paranoid about this whole situation every time they're the focus.
I don't understand it. Really, what's keeping them alive right now in their team fights is that Hunbat's ult. That would have done it if there was an execution on it.
If there was some potential follow-up, and it's almost like the Najar situation. Najar's up in the air, he CC'd a target. What do? Can you fight Najar? Not really. Can you stop the Ra, the Scylla, the Poseidon from setting up off that? Yes, you can. So, diving into the backside, sure, you can all in Death X the King. But why not just... you got two options. Destroy the gun or unload the gun. If you can unload the gun, that's easier than trying to destroy it.
Definitely. And while we're looking at Poseidon right now, I just, like, to me, it seems like he's just an alt bot. He's not really placing it at the right places. He's just kind of pushing it out there. Which, in some cases, it's not bad. If you're just trying to look for a little bit of pressure off your lane, pop that alt, people usually back off. But they have caught on to that. They have caught on to where, like, he's just going to put it out there. So once he does, they just dive.
Definitely has been the look. Fury still really hasn't been in a position to use this cursed dog, but as you mentioned, the Pestilence is now online for 2 members. They've got the Divine Ruins and the Brawler's Beat Stick. Everyone's pretty much full build. In fact, I do believe, yes, everyone now, bar Fury, has sold their boots for a final 6th item. And we are pretty much at the great equalizer. Phoenixes are back up in mid. Only right-hand side is available. Doesn't matter the first 30 minutes of this game. Everyone is on an even footing here.
And, you know, if they can get great potential in a push of the lane state, like right now, I'm thinking if they're split pushing that lane right there and they get that Phoenix, it could be game over. Definitely.
Could very well be. We do see that 4-1 split again. And I like this. Let's go for the lanes that are the furthest from the lane that's got pressure right now. Humbats again, looking to try and just steal away some ward vision. Will be forced to use Fear No Evil. And that's a great look for Incompetent Strategy. Now, that bullet, it's gone.
It definitely is great for them, because if you can push out that Hunbat's ult, which is their only secure in a team fight, then you're good to push everywhere.
Well, mid lane, again, see a nice bit of pressure. Destin forced to deal with that. Roman Rage still comes out to buy some space, but Kukalain has done a good job in the backside zoning people away. Aphrodite comes out, but it's not good enough. Rest of the damage has been done. Give me your hat, finds Crimson Fire. Mercury isn't good enough, or Mercy hasn't made the rotation good enough. They get put down quickly. Again, Underworld Alliance are going to be able to turn this. 2 members down. That's a triple kill. That's a deicide for 2 members. Underworld Alliance turn up again, but I don't think they can push too hard. They've got to deal with these fire minions.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. This is where the plays come in. You know, either you have 3 people in each lane and you try to push either, you know, let's see, they have Oni Fury up. They could try that, but they can't. They have no great push potential right now because they have fire minions. And you just got to take care of those, or else your Titan's dead. Or your Phoenix goes down again.
Indeed, but there are only 2 more fire minion waves. 1 more now, as Destin is the last one to close out. Both Phoenixes have now respawned, so Underworld Alliance can breathe a little bit easier. I'm going to push out these last tier 2 towers, so they can't quite get a clean end here, given that there's only 3 of them. I wouldn't mind them grabbing this tier 2 tower and then swinging back for Oni to try and get a little bit more push into their own favor.
That's what I would definitely do, because then you'd have Oni waves coming through, and you wouldn't have as great a lane pressure on you as has been the whole time.
Indeed. Well, I don't know if anyone else caught that, but there's had a quick glance. Both Poseidon and Pele now with the 3k damage pot. We are reaching critical mass between these 2 teams now.
So now it's Phoenix to Phoenix, which is really good for Underworld, because they have been getting pushed the whole game.
Ooh. Ooh. Call me, into the crypts there. Almost get with a brush with death there against Maelstrom, but instead they are just going to elect to give this one up. Incompetent Strategy should be able to secure this, and I like the fact they've still kept the other three around this Fire Giant side.
And once again, definitely going for Oni Fury, trying to get that extra pressure in lane.
Well, they have been able to secure that, so again, keep your eyes on how that's going to end up going. I want to see, at this point, Incompetent Strategy force a fight around this Fire Giant, because they know if Underworld Alliance turn up to fight that, they get lane pressure, and if they don't turn up to fight them, they lose Fire Giant. It's a lose-lose.
It's going to be an interesting thing, but like I said before, with that, like if they start it, as long as Poseidon's up, they have potential to steal.
Very true. So instead, they're just going to play it safe for now. Grab the Pyromancer. There's Whirlwind of Rage and Steel to come out to try and steal a Pyromancer. All right, then. Well, that's one tool down. Only a few more to go. They should be able to look at this one in the bag. It does look like the Underworld Alliance are just going to back this one up. Mid lane, Pele trying to push down. They're just saying enough of this. No Fire Giant needed. I'm going to try and all in you, but it gets turned around. Instead, DeathX the King able to find one. Amma burns the beads on the second. And that was an incredibly greedy play there from Maelstrom.
It definitely was, and then we'll go back to, you know, she probably would have been saved if she just used her beads.
Find Poseidon, you win this game. Find the Poseidon, you win this game. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to. There's the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel and the ultimate as well, but Poseidon will slip away. All four members from Incompetent Strategy now have regrouped, trying to find on Give Me Your Hat, but they will blink away. But that's a TKO. Ignore him. Ignore him. Stop, please. There's other things on the map. He's not worth your time.
I think just right there, you know, they see the kill. They see the kill. They want the kill.
Cue the Benny Hill. Cue the Benny Hill. Give Me Your Hat has been able to survive this long. It doesn't matter. They were dead to rights anyway. It was a technical knockout. There was no reason to do that because now 3 members have just walked away from the Fire Giant side. Underworld Alliance, they're actually starting this up.
And this could be a great secure for them if they can do it because, you know, you had... Colin did the right thing. He tried to get them away from the Fire Giant.
As has DeathX the King here. Gets pushed low, and Call Me Rich finds the last hit. They weren't able to use a nice Fear No Evil. 2 members have died. 40 seconds minimum on them. They're still looking for these kills. If they're going to do this, they need to go for a Phoenix here. Forget the Fire Giant. Just get this kill and end, please. Minions are already pushing down this left side Phoenix, and that's got Oni minions in there as well. They have to try and push a Phoenix here. They're going to look to this mid lane, whilst Destin is forced to deal with the left-hand side. Could we see an end here?
It's quite possible, and it's just like you said, since they backed off from wanting the Fire Giant, and if they're pushing in, they have great potential to kill this Titan right now.
Oh, well, this looks like it could very well be the game. Maelstrom do what they can to keep everyone busy. Destin gets a kill, but it's too little, too late. Underworld Alliance will fall in Game 1 versus Incompetent Strategy.
Great game, but it's like we said before, you know, you need that anti-healer instantly.
It was a fairly long and hard-fought game there. 49 minutes, one of the longer games I believe we've seen out of this league. And I have to feel that a lot of that is because Call Me Rich was able to get to this late-stage engage. I mean, look at the build. It's 3 items from the spellbook tree, which are already very expensive, a Chronos Pendant, and a Divine Ruin. That's... You couldn't ask for a better look for an Aphrodite.
Definitely, and you know, they just early game and mid game they had no way to combat that, no way at all, and they only built it late game. And then, you know, if they built it early game, they would have had more potential for greater fight.
Indeed, and it was very unfortunate. The last fight really was just a nail in the coffin there. DeathX the King hiding around the corner. It's like, oh, there's 3 members. We can instantly go in and just ult them. We can set up for a huge fight. Amaterasu dash. Instantly silencing him out, instant CC. It just all fell apart from there. But if you're going into, you are coaching Underworld Alliance right now. You've just seen Game 1. You're about to go into Game 2. What is your game plan for the second game to come back in?
Game Clan would definitely be, if they have a healer, you need that anti-heal online first. Also, try to look for more objectives. Incompetent had mostly all the objectives besides one fire giant, and they held each lane every time.
Indeed. Well, that's going to be the game plan here. We'll be back shortly with game 2. We're going to go to a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2 of the first set of the final week here with the BOTG Community League. In Game 1, it was almost an hour-long slugfest between Underworld and Incompetence, which Incompetence are able to sneak themselves away a win. So we're going to be heading into Game 2, and to talk that through with me, Supersonic Blur, is once again the Bastard.
And how's it going, guys? And I will be surprised right now for the bans if they do not ban all the healers, because that was the straight game.
I want an Aphrodite ban, please. Please ban me Aphrodite, because we just saw how devastatingly good it was to have that Afro for so long.
Well, and then you got to rethink your strategy as well. Tell them you did not have that anti-heal online early enough. If there's a healer, get that. Even if one of them has like a lifesteal item, get that anti-heal so they have no push on you whatsoever.
Indeed. Well, we are going to see same sides for these two teams. In terms of bans, still going with that Bastet first ban are Incompetence.
That leads me to believe that somebody on that team is good with Bastet, and they do not want to see that Bastet game.
Well, so we know someone who definitely had a good Pele game, Maelstrom, isn't going to be able to get that one back, so that's going to be banned away. And I do like these bans. They're not super top pick, but in the last game, that was one of the reasons you had such a hard time. Get rid of it.
Definitely. And the Raijin ban, that leads me to believe that somebody's good with it. While Raijin is really good, he's really only good to the person who can execute all of his, his ult and all of his abilities.
True. Well, you do also as well, it's very difficult to punish a Raijin because you do just all in and praise all the gods. Aphrodite is banned. You can do whatever you want now for the rest of the bans. You banned Aphrodite. I don't care.
But it all depends. If they don't get that hell in there, they could easily pick hell.
Yeah, but you see, here's the thing. Hell is fun and interesting to watch. Aphrodite is not.
That's true. That's true. But hell has great potential for heals and damage. That's the only problem.
Yes,
while you have Afro for a one-person heal, you have hell that could be a group fight, heal everybody.
Very true. Well, it's all onto the Underworld to see what they want to pick. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see the Underworld pick up Hades, like the god and king of the Underworld, and you don't pick that up. Your team name is Underworld Alliance, and you don't pick that up?
That is a pretty funny one.
What's that all about?
I'm more interested about this Jiba ban, man. That's 2 games in a row that Jiba's been banned. Mm-hmm. And while he is a good character, he's not a game changer in the duo lane.
True. Very true. It's difficult to necessarily justify it so early on, but as you mentioned, same with the Bastet. If someone's got a good Shiba, just don't let them be comfortable on it. So instead, they're going to grab the Humbats themselves this time and the Ganesha away from Fury. I guess they really liked what they saw from the Ganesh there.
I'm wondering about it. I'm definitely wondering. And at a Wheelix pick as well. That could add great lane pressure to each lane and your jungle.
Definitely, especially with this Solbeck, which there is still a flex pick if you do want to run it support, though usually we are used to seeing this solo back just because it's so difficult to punish and out pressure a Solbeck. And the fact that he ends up being able to rotate, still do insane damage, still set up fantastically for your team, it's so difficult to properly punish a solo back.
Definitely, and I'm looking for these last 2 picks to. I'm assuming there's going to be a knockup somewhere to execute for that Wheelix.
Indeed. Well, if you want talking on executes, you've got 3 options. You've got Ao Kwong, you've got Thanatos, and Achilles. Could see the Achilles run as a again flex towards either one of the front sides of things, so support or the solo lane if they wanted. But in terms of the second phase of bans, Odin's the first one to go, which could be scary if, again, we leave the door open for these healers.
And there's the Poseidon ban. That is surprising.
It isn't. It is definitely a strong pick, but when you've got other options like the Merlin still available, I'd have to imagine Merlin's got to be the next ban here if you do still want to focus out mages. But what are you looking at here for the last ban here for Incompetence?
It really could go either way. I'm thinking there's going to be another healer ban. It's definitely got it. We saw Hell in the first round, and to not see it in the second means something's going on. Either somebody's trying to play Hell, or I'm serious. I think there's going to be a healer on one of the teams.
Well, we can only hope that it is not, but they're taking a little bit of time here. So, we are going to see the Ho Yi band, which did look pretty good, honestly, in the last game. So, I guess they just don't want to see Underworld on that.
There's your Merlin ban.
Hey, it's almost as if I am a caster and have to learn these kind of things. Don't ask me for the lottery numbers. I'm not that good yet. I'm working on it, though, I promise.
I definitely agree with you on that Merlin ban. He can be a real pain in mid lane. Definitely. Especially with his ice stance.
Oh yeah, you can say any of his stances and say that he can be a problem, but all of them offer so much versatility. He is the multi-tool kit with a mage, huge damage, nice control, good safety, long range, strong objectives, and control. He does everything.
So he definitely does. Ooh, the Daji as well.
I like the hover, but instead they're gonna opt for this Kamazots.
And right now,
be this solo laner.
If we're talking about Kamazots, man, he has great potential, especially with his built-in lifesteal.
It's insane. You do insane things, all right? You do ridiculous levels of healing. But hey, there's a knock-up. You wanted another one. Jingwei does look to be the answer and has been locked in. So going for this strong late-game Huntress here, who's kind of difficult to punish early.
Definitely, and like I was saying, I really think if you don't pick another knockup, then you're not helping your jungler out. You always, when you have an Awilix on a team, you always want most knockup.
Indeed. Don't.
Yeah. I know.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Goose, don't. This is like a dog who's picked up a chew toy and they know they think it's a chew toy and it's not. Don't toy with this. There we go. That's better. I've seen Loki mids before and it won. I'm not going back there. Don't make me do it again, please. I don't want to have to explain it. No.
Oh, that scared me for a long time.
It's not though. It's raw. So we're not going to have to deal with that, thankfully. However, we do see this Raw come out, and that is going to be for the mid lane side of things. And you called it. There's another healer.
I'm definitely thinking about that. They saw how much push they could go in with the healer, how there was no anti beginning. So why would you not do it again? If you can get that early game lead, why wouldn't you?
Plus, the other thing as well is Ra isn't necessarily like, oh my god, he's a healer. It's the heal is in his kit. He still does great damage with the ult. He has great secure with his 1. His 2 is there, but it can be useful for self-peel and a little bit of damage if you need it. The big thing about the 3 and the Solar's Blessing is it's less about going out of a fight and sustaining. It's more sustaining in the middle of a fight. You gain protections, you gain power when you're in that little area. So you want to be using that in combat more than out of combat.
Definitely, and especially with that Raw, it's, with his ult, you can snipe. And that'll be a definite game changer if somebody's low. Because how many times did we look last game where so many people were low, you just couldn't catch up to them?
Agreed. So hopefully we're going to be able to see that. We'll have to see whether or not they're going to be able to run away with this game. But if anything was if the last game is anything to talk about, Underworld Alliance aren't exactly a team that is going to roll over and just give up.
Which, yeah, definitely last game they had great potential. They started to execute better, and it just comes once again to that anti-heal. Once they got that on, they were able to stay in the fights longer, and they were able to push a little bit.
That looks to be the case. Again, no shenanigans for this early stage of the game, and again, everyone seems to be fairly similar with their builds. Both mages this time opting for the magic focus start. I hope that that's a divine ruin into the crypts.
It may or may not be. We don't know yet. Like last time, that Poseidon built what last item into divine ruin. So hopefully they learn from their mistakes.
Well, dual lane again. Looking to just be a bit of a slap fight. We are going to see the Sobek in this lane though. So not his usual home, but definitely something he can still do. Talk to me about this this duo lane then. We saw what it looked like last time. How does it differ to this game?
Dual lane right now, it could go either way. But right now, Wei has way upper lead on turn because of her potential and her passive, where she can just back and then be right back in lane if she needs to be.
Not to mention as well, sustain-wise, that sickening strike. Not only is it going to apply a little bit of anti-heal, making the pots used by your opponents worse, but it's a heal in itself for you, so definitely a nice look to try and get some early advantage in lane. Again, going back to that tug of war, if you can pressure the lane without giving up any positioning issues, you're all hunky-dory.
Definitely, and you know, it really.
Yes, I did just say hunky-dory. It's a word.
I think that's okay. But going back to the Jingwei too, also, I have seen where if you do not build her right, you get annihilated easily. So it really all depends on how comfortable you are with her, because it could go either way. Churn, on the other hand, you know, you could really build him however you felt, and he could still do a lot of damage, and he could still add pressure into any lane with his ult.
Yes, he certainly can do. I will hold my breath on exactly how that's going to end up going, though, given the fact that they have opted for this spiked gauntlet start, are we expecting this to be the Devourer's gauntlets here, or maybe a Bloodforge?
I would definitely go for Devourer's Gauntlet, because you don't really see Bloodforge in Conquest, so to speak, unless you're looking for that kind of extra double heal where you get it like 6 items.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maelstrom, don't worry. We've all missed basic really still targets before, but not a still target. Nice knock up there. Camazot's still doing what they can. They are going to be able to sustain through just enough.
And,
Not good enough. Give me your hat. Slaps down Goose. That's first blood on a nice gank.
And we'll go again. That's sustain with Camazot's and his lifesteal, man.
Oh, go for it. Nice look for an invade. Isn't going to be able to get it. Maelstrom saving the blue buff. So I'm sure his solo laner will be more than happy of. They're actually looking for the turnaround kill here. Can't quite find the last hit. Will get stunned away. Give me your hat. You are owed at least a beer for that peel.
Yeah, I think right there, Camazotz was looking for some revenge. Just couldn't execute on it. And surprisingly, right now, I mean, I understand it. Discordia is a great mage for mid lane.
Oh, no! Into the crypts. Call me rich. That was very disrespectful to stay up that far with so little health and mana. Into the crypts will happily take a free kill in mid lane, and now it's Underworld Alliance who have this better looking early game.
I think they ended up, I think the first game they were like, okay, we'll just pick these, and now they're going do or die.
Do you think that maybe this is a case of, because how long the first game went, that they might still be kind of stuck in that mindset of, alright, we're still level 20, let's all just play like they are level 20 with full builds?
I think so, and then if we're looking at last game as well, like I think Underworld, they started to give up, and then they're like, no, we're gonna push it. And in a game like this, you can't have that give up mentality. You always gotta have, there can be a way to win. So you look at all the options.
Well, Call Me Rich returns the favor to Into the Crypts. They get put into the ground. Maelstrom turns up with the ult, and if you look at those two little diamonds, which two ults are down? Call Me Rich and Maelstrom, and those two were involved in a kill. I wonder what happened there.
I think it was an ult payback. We're gonna call it right there.
It looks to be the case now, though. It's kind of fairly quiet here on Underworld Alliance. They have accrued a small lead, but it's only set about 300 gold, despite getting that first blood. Pluck back in. Nice use of the ultimates there to come through. And Fury finds the kill under Crimson Fire. That's what you want to see with this Awilish.
Definitely. And right now, it's actually a great start for Underworld, considering their last game. It's just they got to keep that focus the whole time in order to keep it up. You can't just think I'm in the lead and we have it won, because the tide can turn.
Oh, Death X the King. Call Me Rich was too busy looking at the right hand. Didn't spot the left slug coming through. They'll get taken down. That's what they wanted to do the first time, is just sit in the heel and use those protections to weather through that golden apple. They couldn't quite do it this time, though they are using the correct Raskin, so I'm not that upset.
And I'll tell you what, right now, Death is doing a great job at jungling this time, executing on everybody that is low. You know, you didn't see it there. You just saw him there for his ult. Now he is in every fight that he sees that there's a low person, which is perfect for a jungler.
Agreed. Well, 6 minutes in, 5 kills already, and it's Underworld Alliance who find themselves with 4 of them in their pocket. It is also as well interesting to see they are all spread out. It's 1 kill on 4 members, so there's not a case that it's one person becoming a snowball of death. It's everyone slowly ratcheting up just that little bit of pressure, that additional little bit of gold, that little bit of XP, and that could very, very easily become just a full avalanche of unstoppableness.
It definitely could. That's where you got to look at it. And, you know, like you're saying, if your lane's getting pushed, you need to say, okay, we need to regroup, maybe back up a little bit because they know the strategy, and then we go from there. Or if we need a gank in the lane that's getting pushed harder, let's try for that, have a 3-man rotation.
Well, the 3v3 in mid. The good old mini joust game is underway. Wombats is around the backside. Doesn't have blink, but does have the ult, and I don't think anyone spotted it out, so they've got to be careful. What? Where was the ult there? Instead, they're going to jump away and instantly get pulled back in. Discordia's golden apple is good. There's the fear no evil, but it's already too late. What?
I think I think Hoodbats was looking for his teleport on his monkey, and it just didn't happen.
Why? You had Discordia dead to rights. You had Ra with ultimate right in front of you. Who cares? At worst that happens, you burn Discordia beads. I really am not liking that play there.
I didn't like it either, and you know, I don't know. I think we talked about it earlier. Hoodbats is good, but if you don't have a great potential on it, just don't play him.
Weakened. Sorry, little frog in my throat there. But getting back to things, Underworld do well to be able to punish that, and I don't understand Maelstrom. All right, fair enough, you don't use Finna Evil, but you can't jump away and not use beads into an Awilish. You just can't do that, because now she's getting further and further ahead. Give Me Your Hat finds another kill, but Living Nightmare has brought through reinforcements onto one. Not going to be able to find it just yet. This Osiris is still healing and juking through the minions. No way is he getting out of this. He can't. He can't.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Down. I was like, there for a second, it worried me. It looked like Hoodbats was backing off, and it's like, you can't do that yet.
Not just yet. Unfortunate there. Unfortunately for Give Me Your Hat, he was playing Osiris and not King Arthur, who has a billion abilities and could have survived that easily, but it is the Osiris, and it is very strong for this early, so the fact that he's got this little bit of lead isn't bad, but how is that going to transition out against the Camazots?
It could really go either way, because, you know, Osiris has great potential in solo lane, and Camazots is really one of those characters that just now is coming up as a solo lane player, to where he's great potential because, you know, of his lifesteal and everything like that. So it really all depends if they have those ganks in there, they have rotations. Unless Osiris gets some anti-heal, I don't think Osiris could box
Oh, no, wait, no, it's Rich. Okay, sorry, I was about to be incredibly upset there, but blink in. Oh, sorry, the ult forces Camazots away and into the ult. I was very upset there because I looked down at the builds, but Call Me Rich is the one who has the Spirit of Desolation. I was almost very upset then, but no, they aren't the one who has to build anti-heal this game, so I like this option here.
Yeah, we'll still see on Discordia, but right now, Even though she doesn't have anti-heal, she is still adding great pressure to the lane, especially with the execution of her ult.
Certainly has been the case. DeathX the King will take a little bit of damage there, but should be able to sustain that back up with that Assassin's Blessing. Has opted for the first item Brawlers, so I'm glad we are still going to be able to see that. And honestly, once Into the Crypts grabs the Diviner in here, I think that's probably fine for anti-heal for the most part. Maybe you see Goose grab something, or sorry, you see Give Me Your Hat grab something, but he is on the Osiris, and he is going to grab a solo kill against Goose. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, a 2v2 ends up going the way of Underworld Alliance as well. That's another 2 kills going their way, and that's the start of a 2k gold lead.
I tell you what, right now, this is almost like a mirrored game. It is complete opposite.
It is!
So much lane pressure going on in each lane, and it is ridiculous.
Well, mid lane, 2v2 ends up going the way of Incompetent Strategy, so they are able to answer back. But again, Underworld Alliance is still one step ahead. The Rising Birch's beads were forced, and they were chased down. And they're not able to really keep this traction going. Every time they look like they might be getting something, Underworld Alliance are getting something else across the map.
Exactly, and if you're looking like right now, this is what I was talking about. You have Jingwei pushing that duo lane, while Chernobog is just rotating. He shouldn't be rotating right now. He's supposed to be building devs.
Well, he's not rotating, but this right-hand side fight is still going on. Osiris is able to get away from this. Bat Out of Hell is used in this 2v3. Flip back in, picks one up, and it gets the ult. DeathX finds the Goose, and they've been cooked again.
I don't think they realize how great that a Wheelix ult can be, especially on your jumps and stuff.
It's not even, it's not even the case of, oh my god, they got knockups they can pull. It's, you have a Kamazots with a leap, who really needs to get that leap off in order to sustain a huge amount or get away. Humbat has a leap, who really wants to use that to get in and potentially slow some people. If you don't get those off, you are screwed. You are 100% being blown up instantly. And I love seeing that come out from Death the King.
Which, hopefully, if we're looking at, because right now, it kind of sucks for Kamazots, because his lane is getting pushed so hard.
Yeah, 2 tier 1 towers have already fallen and will lead to, or will help lead on this almost 4k gold lead, coming up to now 3k. We haven't really seen either one of these teams look towards an objective. I feel like Underworld should be able to start looking at least around gold, right?
They definitely should, but I think as of right now, they're just comfortable with the lane pressure that they have going on, because, you know, last game they were getting pushed so hard.
Oh,
and now
there's a nice flip back in. Beautiful work, and the apple does spread as well. Osiris has transitioned this lane pressure with a full level lead, so he's just going to run this down mid, force the beat in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Crimson Fire is evaporated, and Give Me Your Hat still going. Where doesn't have a hat? Let him be.
These team fights are going so well for Underworld right now. Ooh. Their rotation is on key. They're getting what they want out of it.
Indeed, they
and it's
are.
so great to see for them after the last game.
I got to agree with you there. They haven't had this mentality of, oh, we were behind, we're gonna lose. Honestly, this feels like a complete revitalization for the team. Like, they needed that. Like, this is the anime equivalent of Goku getting one shot by Raditz, and then he just goes Ultra Instinct straight away. That is what we've seen here.
Exactly. It's so great to see that they haven't lost their confidence. They're coming in. It almost looks like a brand new team compared to the last game.
You can see how well it's going as well. Fury has actually opted for a first item, Cloak of Unrelenting Sorrows, as it was originally known. But the Mantle of Discord there, that's a very expensive first item, but I guess he just feels comfortable and confident enough to be able to look for it.
Well, like, right now they are up in gold, so I guess if you had the gold right there, why not get it if you think it's going to help your team out, especially if he's going to be in more team fights.
Oh no. Incompetent steal away the Fury or the Pyromancer, and they take Fury's life as well. Really not a nice look seeing from Underworld Alliance. Now they're getting chased down. Maelstrom finds DeathX and he's pulling members away. Meanwhile, Discordia looking to fight against 2v1. Can't quite find it. Destin ends up finding the Humbat, but it's still a 3-for-1 trade and could be looking worse.
I tell you what, this is the kind of turnaround where you can't just give up that lead. You can't just think that you're comfortable. You always got to be looking for the different objectives that you could do to try to put your team farther ahead.
Okay, so again, going back to the anime analogy, it's not Ultra Instinct. It's the not bad. You get up and you slug them. Now, Incompetent they've stepped back from the dust. They've smirked and said, "This isn't even my final form." Crack their knuckles, and that's the swing back that they've done here. So Incompetent Strategy still showing that they're comfortable to fight, even at a deficit.
And it was a really great play on Incompetent to sit there and take that pyro while getting the kill as well. It was a great ult on Raw.
It was a fantastic look, and the fact that it clipped not only the Pyromancer, but got Fury as well, along with the Dharmic Pillars. Like, you can't, like, Crimson Fire didn't do that, like, from behind the wall, and they didn't know he was there. They had it on a ward, and he just stood there in front of everyone. There was no concern, no look. They didn't even bother about him, and they still let him get away with that.
And then once they lost their Guardian, once Sobek was down, they had no fight potential. And then it just fell apart from there because you had nobody peeling for you. I mean, Osiris can a little bit, but he was getting ganged up on. He had to get out.
Agreed. And Osiris Peel is fairly slow. Well, I mean, it is literally pretty much all slows, DeathX. Finding a 1v2 or a 2v2 over on the duo side. Osiris trying to fight a 2v1. Still going all in on this draw. Left-hand side, the final fight. Destin is going to be the one who is taken down. Sustain is good, and give me your hat overstays their welcome. So 3 for none, going the way of Incompetent Strategy.
And that was a great rotation on Raw, knowing that Osiris has been pushing that Camazotz.
He's going to get away with this. There's no way that Crimson Fire should be, or the Rising Bird should be able to get away with this, but with Crimson Fire on the rotation as well, Aegis should buy them a little bit of time. Can't get into the wall in time, so Fury is going to be able to grab them. But they're the only 2 members left alive. Last member's up in base. Everyone else from Incompetent Strategy is more than happy to just farm up. And they've got themselves a tier 1 tower over on Solo side. So they're all fine with this. The game's pretty much even again. And they were down almost 5k not 3 minutes ago.
It just goes back to that scenario. You know, if somebody has that we can't quit mentality, they find a way to get back in the game.
Looks to be that case. Fury still with this fairly unconventional build. Next item, here's this Oni Hunters. And I really like this item. It's starting to see a little bit more of a rise to popularity here.
It definitely is. And there's great potential. And you also see the Osiris having it too.
And who can say no to 9% mitigation just for existing in a team fight?
Well, and if you're looking at it too, if you're looking for that extra peel and looking for that extra protection, it's definitely something you should definitely get. If you're looking at more group fights and trying to get the focus onto yourself.
Agreed. And it just complements the way that they've been playing this so well. It's in the thick of things. It's surviving through everything is what they've been looking to try and do. Now, though, we're going to see that use of that 9% mitigation. Osiris is kind of stuck here on their own. In fact, there's 4 members over this side. Incompetent Strategy really want to push this lane down. Meanwhile, Underworld, they're looking over the left-hand side, but the Fury hasn't yet spawned, and Humbats is here just to make sure that they aren't going to sneak it away. Blink in, they might just find him on his own. 2 ults used into the crypt, gets it. Give me your hat, willful. But what are Incompetent's going to get in exchange for a Fury here? Fire?
Oh, really? Oh, I was going to say it'd be a great play on Underworld if they just left the Osiris for dead and got the Gold Fury. But if they're getting fire, that's where that Osiris should be spamming that. You know, they're on fire. Attack Fire Giant. Attack Fire Giant.
They are going on fire. The War Vision is only there for Incompetence. I love what Goose did there. They TP round the backside and say, "Hey, Underworld, oh, we're going to fight you. Oh, we're going to fight you. There's a fight coming." No, it wasn't. They were there to, if they can get a lazy backing pick, go for it. They didn't know anyone's health bars, but it was all about getting the rest of the team this fire. It is only 3 members who will end up having it, but it's still not a bad thing to have for 3 members here this early on.
Well, and it's definitely a great advantage as well, because they just took that from Underworld, because Underworld's at a great advantage to try and push that, especially in team fights if they actually win. So now they have that secured, so there's no definite losing lane.
Well, Living Nightmare came out, but no one ended up going to anyone there. Did the Rising Birch, played it safe, just wanted to get vision. Underworld get their complimentary prize of the Pyromancer for Fire Giant. And how is it that Incompetent are really going to use this? Are they the ones with the initiative here, or is it on Underworld to make a move?
I guess it would all depend. If they feel like they have a great push to do something, a great team fight, then, you know, I feel like they would initiate. Or if they're just trying to get pressure off of their lanes now, get back to where they're going and get back into a comfortable state, they could also do that as well.
Certainly looks to be what's happening here. Maelstrom somehow managed to sneak themselves a 2.5, 3 level lead here. They've been doing a damn good job of farming things up, but we really haven't seen that much from this Hunbats, honestly.
And we haven't, which is surprising because Maelstrom last game was always in the thick of everything. Now you got it almost reversed to where Death is over there just ganking everything, using his ult to initiate and fights when he sees a jump.
Well, a little bit of a potential siege here for this mid-tier 1 tower. Snipe comes through and hits, and it's good enough for Maelstrom to be able to blink around on the King. Juice does find into the crypts as well, and that's a fantastic start and a huge amount of burst set up by a fantastic free-handed ult from Ra.
And that was definitely great work on communication right there when they were saying, hey, we're going to push this, we need to go on here, we need to do this.
Absolutely brilliant. Now Maelstrom is showing up. I think I just cast as cursed at them. Maelstrom was so quiet and then comes through with a triple kill. They're able to push down tier 2 tower, and they're now going to be able to push down Phoenix. No one's still up here. They've got a raw roll. They could actually just go straight for an end here.
I was going to say this might be an end.
What a turn. They're going for it. They've got the damage. All 5 members are up. No one's going to be able to stop them. Incompetent strategy. They took a beating early on, but turn it back around and go from a 50-minute game to a 22-minute game in which they showed they can play from behind and show you how to get back that lead.
And if we're going to be honest, I really think it was that Fire Giant push. When they knocked that tower down, they had the extra damage, they had the extra buff. It just helped them so much.
Indeed, it really did. I have to feel that someone on Underworld had to be thinking, guys, we don't know where they are. They're not pushing the tier... Guys, they're not on tier 2 tower. We should probably check. Because they didn't need everyone over the other side to do with the Fury. So just even if it was doing like what the Humbats did. Oh, guys, I've got eyes on them. They're on Fury or they're on fire. That gives you that information. Not having that really hampered them there.
Well, and even with that, like, you know, some of that would fall on the Osiris, because if you're thinking, if you have 4 people in your lane, you're right next to fire, they automatically got to be going for fire, especially if they have vision on the Gold Fury and see that everybody's there.
Agreed. So unfortunate look there for Underworld Alliance, but they did definitely show up and show better standings for the second game, even in the first game, to be able to take it through to those 49 minutes. But congratulations to Incompetent Strategy here. They will be taking a 2-0 here versus Underworld Alliance. And from what I saw, they had some really nice teamfight potentials, and it all seems to be centered around this mid lane with Maelstrom and Call Me Rich.
It was definitely a great game.
Indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the first set here with the Obey. Sorry, I'm getting this confused here. The Battleground of the Gods Community League. We'll be back shortly with the second set, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.